What if I told you that the biggest ceiling on your wealth was a number someone else whispered into your mind before you even knew how to count? 1,000,000. A nice round figure, one that sounds both impressive and safe. One that you were told to chase, to wish for, to hope to deserve. But not too much more, not too big. Because too big makes people uncomfortable. You see, most people never examine the invisible ceiling that has been placed on their dreams. They aim for what is culturally acceptable, what sounds nice at dinner parties, what will not offend their relatives, what fits into the collective blueprint of success. But what if that blueprint was never made for you? What if the entire map you were handed was a misprint for the size of your soul? 1,000,000 is not a magic number. It is just the upper limit of a belief system designed to cap your power. The average person will spend their life trying to earn that million in lifetime chunks, stretching and scraping, wondering if it is too much to ask. But the people who break the frame, who ask why not a billion, they're not just after more money. They're after more space, more influence, more generosity, more creation, more aliveness. 1,000,000,000 is not about the zeros. It is about the vision that refuses to shrink, and maybe you have felt it. That twitch in your chest when someone says, "Do not be greedy." That soft inner voice that whispers, "But what if I am made for more?" Maybe you have always had a secret suspicion that your goals were not too big, but too small. That your desires were not arrogant, but accurate. And if that is true, if your inner world has always known what the outer world tried to tame, then this is your permission slip to rip up the ceiling and rewrite the question. Do not just ask how to earn 1,000,000. Ask what you would become if that number was never your finish line in the first place. Think about it. Who told you that 1,000,000 was a big deal? Was it your parents struggling to make ends meet, quietly fearing their bills? Was it your teacher, the one who told you to be realistic, to focus on safe careers, to avoid disappointment? Was it the books you read, the news you watched, the whispers in your culture that warned you not to want too much? Somewhere along the way, someone taught you to measure your desires against the comfort zones of others, not against the capacity of your own soul. But history does not belong to the reasonable. It belongs to the expansive. Do you think Oprah became Oprah by deciding she just wanted to be a local news anchor? Do you think Elon stopped at inventing one idea? Do you think Carnegie said 100,000 is enough? These people were not more gifted than you, but they were more committed to an inner yes that society had not yet approved. The world told them to slow down, to be grateful for what they already had, and they said no. Gratitude does not mean settling. Abundance and humility can hold hands. You can be grateful and still hungry for more. In fact, true gratitude expands you. It gives you the grace to hold more, to become a bigger channel for good. But settling, that shrinks you. It makes your vision easier to digest for people who are afraid to dream. And when you shrink for them, you do not protect them. You simply delay their own expansion. So I will ask you again. Who told you to settle? Who made you believe that more was dangerous? That dreaming bigger would make you less lovable. That playing it safe was noble. And more importantly, why are you still carrying that voice in your head like it is your own? It is not. It never was. And the moment you name it, you can release. It is never just about the money. It is about what you believe you are allowed to hold. Most people are not blocked at the level of strategy. They are blocked at the level of self-concept. They do not know how to receive because they still secretly believe they are not worthy of more. Somewhere deep down, they have tied their worth to their struggle. They have been taught that suffering is sacred and that ease is suspicious. They have learned to fear overflow because it might expose them. Expose their unhealed shame, their survivor's guilt, their unspoken fear of being seen as selfish. So they sabotage. They delay, they aim smaller. Not because they lack desire, but because they lack permission. But you do not need anyone's permission to expand. You only need to stop confusing your pain with your identity. A tree does not apologize for growing tall. A river does not hold back its current because others are thirsty. You were never meant to hoard your gifts or hide your abundance. You were meant to channel it, to share it, to let it flow through you like light through glass. But to do that, you must release the old programs, the ones that said you have to earn every drop of joy through years of pain, the ones that said money only comes from burnout and proving yourself, the ones that said love will leave you if you shine too bright. Your worth is not a prize, it is a premise. You were born with it. And until you believe that, no amount of money will feel safe to hold. It will slip through your hands like water. Because your nervous system is still wired for scarcity, even if your soul is wired for more. So ask yourself not how much money you want, but how much receiving you can actually tolerate. That is your real ceiling. And that is the place you begin to rise. Imagine this. A child is handed a frame and told to paint their future inside it. They begin to draw. At first, their strokes are wild and expansive. Suns with faces, skies made of purple, cities that float. But soon the teacher leans over and says, "Stay inside the lines." So the child learns to shrink their expression to fit the frame. This is what we have done with wealth, with vision, with the possible. We were taught to color within a structure that was never designed for infinite beings. So we clipped our dreams, we rounded our edges. We made our goals more palatable. And in doing so, we forgot how to ask bigger questions. Not just how to make money, but how to expand consciousness. Not just how to build a brand, but how to build a legacy. Not just how to survive, but how to become. Look around at every revolutionary figure in history. They were not the ones who fit into the world. They were the ones who redefined it. And you will not find them asking for permission. You will find them standing at the edge of the known, asking why not? Why not rewrite the rules? Why not become the first? Why not exceed what your parents thought was possible? Why not make wealth so sacred, so ethical, so visionary that it becomes medicine for your bloodline? The frame you were handed is not your fault, but keeping it is your choice. And there will come a day when your soul refuses to shrink one more inch to fit someone else's version of reasonable. That day is holy. That day is expensive. That day is free. And if it is today, then let yourself begin again. Not with better strategies, but with better questions. Audacity is not arrogance. It is devotion to what you know is possible, even when no one else can see it. It is the sacred courage to walk into rooms that were not built for you and build your own table. It is trusting the whisper of your soul more than the volume of other people's doubt. And yes, it will make people uncomfortable, especially those who have not yet given themselves permission to want more. Your expansion will reflect their contraction. Your courage will trigger their excuses. But that is not cruelty, that is invitation. When you rise, you invite others to rise too. When you allow yourself to receive more, you teach others that overflow is safe, that it can be ethical, that it can be generous. You become the proof, not just for what is possible financially, but for what is possible spiritually. Because the journey to bigger money is always a journey to a bigger self. You have to clear old stories, stretch your nervous system, open your heart wider than your fear. You have to choose alignment over approval. And when you do, something opens, life begins to respond. Not all at once, but consistently. It meets you at the level of your decision. But only when your decision becomes non-negotiable. So ask yourself, what would shift if you treated your vision like a vow? If you stopped flirting with your dreams and finally married them? If you stopped looking for signs and became the signal? The truth is, you were never asking for too much. You were just asking the wrong people. The world may not be ready for your fullness, but your destiny is. And that is more than enough. This is not about money, it never was. This is about capacity. About what your energy field can hold without shrinking. About whether your nervous system can handle overflow without guilt. About whether you can be trusted with more, not by the universe, but by yourself. That is the real test. Can you hold wealth without losing your soul? Can you grow influence without feeding the ego? Can you channel power without needing to control? Most people say they want more, but what they really want is safety, the illusion of control, the comfort of approval. But true wealth requires true exposure. You cannot expand and stay hidden. You cannot lead and stay small. And you cannot hold more if you are still ashamed of wanting it. So here's the question, the billion-sized question. What if you stopped asking how much you could get and started asking how much you could give? What if you let your wealth become an extension of your spirit? What if you stopped treating abundance like a trophy and started treating it like a tool? What if you let your success become a sacred act of service, not to prove your worth, but to express it? Because when you stop playing by the rules of limitation, you start playing by the laws of expansion. You stop asking if it is too much, and you start asking if it is aligned. You stop chasing validation, and you start embodying truth. And when you live that way, money does not change you. It reveals you, so ask yourself one last time. If you can hold 1 million, why not 1 billion? Not just in your bank account, but in your presence, in your vision, in your impact, in your heart. If this stirred something in you, do not scroll away. Type it, claim it. Comment below with the boldest vision you have been holding back, the one they told you was too much. This space is not for playing small, it is for rising loud. Let this be the day your dreams stopped hiding.